All right, high rollers, we are quickly approaching one of the most important dates on the calendar. National Blackjack Day is March 2nd. Now, I don't play much blackjack myself, but our guest today does, plays a lot of it, and I like to support his cause because I believe in it wholeheartedly. I've got a trip coming up soon to Las Vegas, and I just know that I am going to get nickel and dime to death while I'm there. Parking, resort fees, and yes, even 6 to 5 blackjack. They get you coming and going, and that's why this movement is so important. We've got to shine a light on it. At Blackjack Day is with us once again. Doesn't like his name being used. That's a gambler's prerogative, and we respect that. At Blackjack Day, welcome to the show, man. Thanks for being our high roller.
Well, thanks for having me. I'm always glad to be here and always glad to talk about Blackjack Day.
Yeah, I know you love talking blackjack. Once we get through Valentine's Day, the world should turn its attention to another major day, Blackjack Day, right? March 2nd.
That's right, March 2nd. And as you mentioned, that day was picked for a very specific reason, right? It's 3-2, which is the appropriate payout for a blackjack. And as you mentioned, unfortunately, the scourge of 6 to 5 blackjack is spreading, especially here in Las Vegas. This will actually be my first National Blackjack Day in Las Vegas, so I'm very excited to be out here on March 2nd.
Oh, that's amazing. Good for you. So what are you expecting on this day? You basically want people just to support the cause and try to raise some awareness.
That's right. This is just a great day to draw attention, right? The big corporations, especially in Las Vegas on the Strip, have been squeezing and squeezing, as you mentioned, and one of the ways that they squeeze is pay worse payouts on blackjack, right? 6 to 5 is killing folks. Every time you get a blackjack, you're winning less money than you used to. I saw a stat from Vegas Advantage, John Mahaffey's site, and he was saying that now 45% of the blackjack games in Las Vegas are now 6 to 5 blackjack. So almost half of all the games in Vegas are now 6 to 5, which means if you sit at that table, you're getting less of a payout than you deserve when you do get a blackjack.
So this is not a fad. This is a trend. This may be the new standard.
Unfortunately, that seems to be the case, and we're seeing more reports from people outside of Las Vegas now starting to see this as well, right? Some of the new casinos out in D.C. and in Foxwoods and Connecticut, we've seen 6-5 popping up. So we're seeing it spread from Vegas to other places, which with gambling, that tends to be what happens, right? It starts in Vegas and spreads to other places, and so the more we can stem the tide now, the better chance we have in the future that we're not ending up every time you sit down to play, you're getting worse and worse odds and payouts.
I mean, ever since the movie 21, the phrase winner, winner, chicken dinner is shouted in casinos everywhere. But with 6 to 5, it's got to be demoralizing because the more you put in, you're not getting quite as much back, right? I mean, you're winning less, so it's just not the same thrill.
It really is frustrating, and so it's interesting. So I went and played. Here's a little anecdote for you. I went and played with a buddy. We were in for a conference, and he wanted to play on a $10 table. He refused to play anything more than a $10 table on the Vegas Strip. And so, of course, it's 6 to 5 is the only thing you could find. And so what I did was I started doubling down when I got a blackjack. Instead of taking right a $10 payout, you're only getting $12. So instead of the 15, you should get it a 3 to 2. So when I got a blackjack, I'd actually double down, try and double my money because I had an 11. So I figured, why not? I'd try and get some payout on it. It worked about half the time. So overall, I think I did about even. I didn't make any friends at the table that day, but I was so frustrated with the 6 to 5, I decided to take it into my own hands.
That is hilarious. You must have been getting some strange looks.
Oh, they did not like me at all. But, it was my own little silent protest that I was forced to sit at the table. So I figured I'd do what I could to stick it to the man.
Now, you mentioned the $10 tables. Are you suggesting that the higher up the levels you go, the less chance you have of finding 6 to 5? Is that correct?
That's typically the case. Now, I will tell you that I've heard reports, and so one of the things that I get is a lot of people tag me when they see, they tag at Blackjack Day when they see tables paying, high limit tables paying 6 to 5. I've heard that during big events, including the Super Bowl and March Madness, that people will actually see $100 tables with 6 to 5 payouts. On a normal day on the Strip, once you get above a $25 minimum table, you'll usually get a 3 to 2 payout. But if you're not careful, they're squeezing it in everywhere they can. So you'll see more and more high limit tables starting to see 6 to 5. But yeah, usually if you're in the Vegas Strip and you're playing a $5 or $10 game, more than likely you're going to end up sitting at a 6 to 5 table.
It's interesting you mentioned percentages, about 45% of the casinos going that way to 6 to 5. I'm wondering another percentage, the percentage of the average gamblers out there that don't even realize what's happening when they're playing blackjack. They don't see the odds, they don't realize that there's better odds, and they're just playing oblivious.
Unfortunately, that's the real issue, right? Is that the average person comes into, especially in Las Vegas, where it's a resort city, right? The average person comes in, they have $100 to gamble, or $200 to gamble. They know how to play blackjack because it's pretty simple, or they've seen it on a movie, like you mentioned. And they sit down, and they know they're trying to get, beat the dealer, get a 20 or 21, and they're most likely going to win their hand. They don't know the difference between a 3 to 2 payout or a 6 to 5 payout, or some of the other rules that might squeeze their winnings, and so they end up losing quicker than they would. Yeah, they're most likely going to lose anyway, but they lose a lot quicker, and the enjoyment value goes down. And so we're trying to just raise the awareness, make people aware, sit down at a table has good payouts, good odds, good rules, and then and hopefully everyone's going to have more fun that way.
Absolutely. The website is nationalblackjackday.org. How did this all start for you? You mentioned the first time you'll be in Vegas for Blackjack Day. Is this the 4th year running? Am I correct on that?
I think the 4th official year. I think it was between year 4 and 5 that I started talking about it. I threw it out there as an idea, one of my blackjack tweets, and a few people reacted. A few people nudged me on, say, yes, do it. And so sure enough, I went out and, secured the URL, the Twitter handle, and then last year I got a trademark. So it's now National Blackjack Day is an officially registered trademark with the U.S. Patent and Trade Office. So March 2nd is now I can say government endorsed. On March 2nd is National Blackjack Day. So yeah, it's just one of those things. Like you said, it's a passion. It's something I enjoy doing, and so why not take it one extra step and have some fun with it.
And it's one of those things you have to admire when you think about it. Hey, I made this come into an existence, and it really is an important day if you're a gambler.
Well, I appreciate that, and I take some pride in it. I probably get a little ribbing from some friends on it for being, we're not curing cancer here, but it's a heck of a lot of fun, and it's a fun thing to do. It's like you said, I feel a little pride of ownership, and it should be a great cause, right? Because it's trying to help out the average consumer when they're enjoying themselves out gambling and having fun with their friends.
So people on Twitter were nudging you on to do this, but how did it start? Was there a light bulb moment? Was it just absolute frustration with a trend that you saw?
Yeah, it was more and more folks kept tweeting about it, kept saying, hey, I hate this. I'm getting nickel and dimed on this. I go to Vegas. It's not as much fun as it used to be. And, as a blackjack player, that was something I was frustrated. I'd go, and some of the tables that I used to enjoy sitting on were getting to the point where I couldn't, it wasn't even worth sitting down because the rules were getting so bad. So I got frustrated, and, I finally said, enough is enough. I want to do something about it and make my own little, right. It's a minor drop in the ocean, but heck, I'm going to at least make that drop and see if we can change some things. Over the years, we've actually gotten a few people sending in notes saying, hey, I've seen these, casinos, especially in Las Vegas, the local casinos advertise very heavily when they're 3 to 2, right? The D, the Golden Gate, the folks downtown, and here at the South Point, they advertise very heavily that they pay 3 to 2 on all blackjacks, which I think is a little bit to do with us pushing on it, because we're bringing to light this inequity where if you go and play 6-5, you're getting a worse deal.
Sad part about it is it's a selling point when it used to be the norm, but it is good that casinos are jumping on board here. You're basically hoping, I was on the website today, you're hoping people do 3 things. Celebrate the day by simply playing 3 to 2 blackjack somewhere. Share their love for the game. You can do that on social media. And while they're doing it, call on casino companies, employees, whoever you're talking to, mention the importance of 3 to 2 tables.
That's exactly right. If you do those 3 things and hopefully win a little money, you've had a good day.
And that's not asking much for the world's greatest and most popular game, right?
That's exactly right. You know what? There's so many people out playing every day, and just, having everyone pay a little more attention and raise a little more awareness and push your local casino, right? If you talk to your dealer, the dealer talks to the pit boss talks to the manager talks to executives, the executives talk to each other. And then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, people say, hey, you know what? People actually do care if it's 3 to 2 or not. And then so hopefully we can change some minds and change some rules.
Yeah. Are there any suggestions that you have? I know you play a lot of blackjack. in your interactions with the dealer? Are you friendly with them? Are you all business when you're at the table? I mean, do you want to sit down at a particular table with a particular type of dealer? I mean, they're the other key player at the table, right? The dealer is important.
Oh, it makes all the difference. They can absolutely change your entire feeling of the day. You can go away losing the money, right? Always set your limit. That's rule number one. But if you lose your limit and you have a fun dealer who actually, you enjoyed playing with, it feels a heck of a lot better than you sit down and you lose your limit with someone who doesn't talk to you and is, annoyed with having to be at work that day. So dealer makes all the difference in the world. I have no problem tipping my dealer. I would, always tip your dealer. Always, if you enjoy talking to people, talk to them. Or if you're one of those people who like to sit in the backseat of the Uber and not talk, you can do that at a blackjack table too, not talk to your dealer. But they will make or break your experience at the. So I absolutely encourage you to tip your dealers, be nice to your dealers, and quite frankly, if you don't like your dealer, get up and go to a different table. It makes, if it's your experience, you're paying the money for the experience. Make sure you have the best one possible, and the dealer's a big part of that.
Absolutely. Great advice. Other advice for beginners. I just had a craps expert on who said that if you're going to play craps or blackjack, we talk all the time about how Vegas nickel and dimes you. If you're going to play these games, why not learn some basic strategy before you go? I know they've got those basic strategy cards for blackjack. He's essentially saying, just use one to help increase your odds. Always try to reduce the house edge.
Absolutely. I mean, I don't know how many times I've sat at a table and left tables because I'm playing with people who have no idea what they're doing, right? Your edge is so small, and actually usually you're a little bit underwater to start with. Right, so if you're playing at roughly 50-50 chance of every hand or every time you sit down to make or lose money, and then you start playing off of standard play, you're losing your percentage odds every time you make a bad play. And so those people who sit there and they feel like this 15 versus this 10 is a bad hit, you know what? You're gonna you're over time. You might have won that one hand. You might have got caught a 4 and the dealer caught an 18. But over time, you're going to lose that more often than not. So look online, get one of those little cards, ask the dealer, take 1 extra second to learn a little bit more about the game and what is the smart play and what is the not smart play. And you're gonna enjoy you're going to enjoy it a lot more. B, you're going to win more often than you lose, and that's really what it's all about.
I'm also curious about these one-deck shoe games. My brother-in-law loves blackjack, and we were playing at the Golden Nugget one time, and he sat in one of those games. Most of the games are multiple decks in the shoe, right? What are you looking for when you sit down at the table?
So I personally, I alternate between double deck and a 6-deck shoe. When I want action and I want to play a lot of hands and just have continuous action, I like to sit at a 6-deck shoe. But you're right. Usually, typically, the smaller number of decks you're playing with, the better your odds are, right? The less the house advantage is. So if you get down to a 2-deck game, which is I probably am playing more often than not now, a 2-deck game you have a little bit more advantage than a 6-deck game. And if you get down to a single deck, the interesting thing is there are very few single deck games that actually pay 3-2 anymore. But the idea being, how many aces are in there, right? There's 4 aces in a deck of cards. So if you've seen 3 aces, there's a pretty good chance you're not going to see another ace until they shuffle again.
Right.
So you're going to, you can start seeing the patterns. And the same thing with 2 decks, right? With 2 decks, you get a pretty good idea of the patterns. And that's why, there are fewer 2-deck games out there. And those that are out there typically have worse rules with them. You're not allowed to, split more than twice. You're not allowed to double after splits, things like that can be advantageous if you know what the next card's coming, have a good chance to be. But overall, you can find good games in different ranges. Those single deck games, though, those are hard to come by. And when you do find them, usually the rules are kind of tight. They're fun to play. I will tell you, they get a little bit slow for me. I do like I said, sometimes I like those 6-deck shoes because you have, now whatever you do, never play with a continuous shuffle machine. That one I will tell everybody every time. Those continuous shuffle machines will take your money. You might as well just put your money into the machine instead of waiting for the cards to come out.
Okay, explain this to me because I'm not aware of this. The continuous shuffle machine.
Right. So if you sit down at a table, especially on the Strip in Vegas, there are these machines that look like I don't know what they look. They're like a rotating tire. And so essentially, what happens every 2 to 3 decks of cards that come out, there are usually 8 decks in this machine. Every 2 or 3 decks of cards that come out, they stack them up, put them back in the machine, and it's continuously shuffling the cards in there. So you don't get a break ever. And so those things are spitting out cards like a robot, basically.
No patterns.
And yeah, so you have almost no chance of winning against those things from everything I've ever seen. I think the only people who win on those are the people who are drunk in the middle of the night, aren't really playing by any rhyme or reason. They just happen to be, hitting and staying at the random times that match up with the cards that spit out of that machine. So whatever you do, stay away from the continuous shuffle machines.
It's funny when you say the only people that are winning at those, but they're winning that night only. Over the long run, they're broke.
Oh yeah. Those things will take your money if you play for more than any time, any continuous amount of time.
Well, thank you so much, by the way, for including High Roller Radio as part of your website. Again, nationalblackjackday.org. You've got us in the Friends of Blackjack Day section. Very nice of you. I like that. I know we've talked about the D, Las Vegas, a big supporter of yours, but you've got others, right? A lot of people backing you. Foxwoods, Rivers, the Seminole Hard Rock, among others.
Yeah, and we look for folks who have 3-2 blackjack. I will tell you, a couple of those have started adding more 6-5. So there may be chances that some of these guys, might be taken off the list. And
get them off there.
If they don't change their ways. That's right. If they don't change their ways, they may be coming off the list. Because, like I said, I mentioned Foxwoods earlier. That someone sent me a note not too long ago saying that they've seen more 6-5 up there. So that's a challenge. So we do. I will tell you that if you're in Vegas, try some of the off-strip properties. South Point is a really good one. The D, Golden Gate, the guys downtown, El Cortez, some of these old school places still spread 3-2 blackjack everywhere, which is, a great thing to see. You can find a $10 3-2 game in downtown pretty easily, and on the Strip, I don't think you can find that anymore.
I got to admit, I have not been to the D yet, but it looks like a fun place. All the pictures, everything I see on Twitter, I have to check this place out.
It really is fun. They do a great job with really catering to their audience, and they completely understand their audience is there to have some fun, let their hair down, and just blow it out for the night. So they do a great job. The Long Bar is fantastic. Derek Stevens and Mike Palm run a great operation, and they really are a fun place to play. So yeah, if next time you're in Vegas, it's worth the trip downtown to check them out.
I'm going there on the 20th, and I plan to do that. Now, you describe yourself on Twitter as a blackjack player, Vegas fan, aspiring to be a full-time gambler. I'm wondering if you've had a chance to play of late, because I know you've been busy. You just started a new job with the Sports Betting Network, 24/7, a sports betting network. Have you been able to play much blackjack, or have you just been too busy?
Not too much. That's a good point. Yeah. So I started a new gig doing marketing for VSIN, which is the Sports Betting Network, as you mentioned. And yeah, my gambling it's ironic, right? I'm spending much more time in Las Vegas than ever before, and I'm probably playing less blackjack than ever before. So, the startup life makes it very hard to get out and actually play from it on my own. But I will tell you that I found that playing blackjack is a nice end of the day relaxation method, and going to play a $10 table here at the South Point will oftentimes be a good way for me to wind down at the end of the day when it's been stressful.
Well, I'll tell you what, it's a great game to play. My brother-in-law absolutely loves it. I'm more poker, but I don't mind sitting with him once in a while and playing this great game. National Blackjack Day, March 2nd, 3-2 on the calendar, as in 3-2 blackjack. Only way to go, folks. At Blackjack Day on Twitter. You got to check the website out as well, nationalblackjackday.org. Thank you so much, my man. I appreciate your time, and hope you have a great day on March 2nd.
Well, thanks for having me. It's always a pleasure to be with you, and I look forward to seeing everyone out at the blackjack tables on March 2nd.